The Asus ZenFone 3 Deluxe has been available in the United States for a couple months now, but we just got our hands on one, so it's new to us. We're looking at the 5.7-inch version of the phone, and for you specs junkies, you can pause now to see what this device is packing. With that out of the way, ultimately what we're looking at is another entry in the 2016 list of killer deals. This spec sheet and build competing well against other phones priced under $600. In the hand, we'd be lying if we didn't feel this design was a bit generic. The main claim to fame? Invisible antenna lines. Not painted over like an LG, simply non-existent. Tiny chamfered edges and a graceful curve to the rear. It's an attractive handset, but in a market saturated by metal phones, the ZenFone really isn't a standout. These shiny forehead and chin bezels are flashy, but it's a bit maddening how well they show off smudges. And the navigation controls feel very low against this bottom edge. Reaching down to the home button feels unbalanced, like we could easily slide or drop this phone. 1080p resolution on a 5.7-inch AMOLED display is about par for the course here. It's a perfectly reasonable screen resolution, and users shouldn't have any issues getting through their daily tasks. We are impressed by this screen brightness though. In auto mode, the ZenFone cranks brighter than any other phone we've recently reviewed. Very well done for daylight viewing. One of the few unique design elements, Asus opted for a thinner strip of fingerprint sensor. Performance is snappy enough, but users will need to get a feel for finger alignment. We've misscanned more often than on recent circular sensors we've reviewed. Moving to the software, the custom skin known as Zen UI is in full force, coloring nearly every aspect of the UI in a candy-colored shell. And oddly, I don't hate it. For those who don't mind something a bit different, all of the general Android pieces are where you would expect, and the phone manages to deliver a playful spin on the modern smartphone UI, though it will likely frustrate many in our audience. First, Asus could do with some polish on organizing menus and settings. There's a lot of hunting for options. Take audio. Very basic options and settings, but if you want to dig into finer controls in the EQ, you have to head out for a separate app. There's also a lot of nagging. Notification shade nagging, app installation nagging, mobile data nagging. Add to that a penchant for performance tweaks and RAM management, which in this day and age feels out of place. Android really shouldn't need this kind of hand-holding, especially not with 6 GB of RAM. This chipset is well-known territory, and the phone utilizes it well, driving the 1080p screen resolution. Navigating the UI and multitasking is as smooth as we would expect it to be. Asus includes some custom gaming software to help users screen capture. You can also fire up the selfie camera to live broadcast while playing. There's a shortcut to the speed boost here, which just seems to dump whatever's in your RAM. Maybe this helps better allocate resources to your game. It doesn't seem to make much difference in our real-world use. Regardless, expect solid gaming playback with only the expected stutters in a title like Marvel Future Fight. Wi-Fi reception was better than average, falling just behind other metal-backed phones like the V20. Likewise, cellular reception fell just slightly behind the Mate 9 and My Home on AT&T LTE, but Asus is making excellent use of AT&T download speeds, posting one of the faster speed tests I've seen in my neck of the woods. The audio game is a bit of a mixed bag. Manufacturers have largely tapped out what we can do with mono bottom-firing speakers, and the ZenFone is about as good as we should expect in that regard. An outdoor mode allows you to push louder at the expense of quality should you need more presence for ringtones and alerts. We likely wouldn't sit and listen to music in a room with this mode activated. Talking about headphone playback requires a little bit of weeding. Asus claims support for high-res audio. When playing back 24-bit files, the audio app will show you this high-res symbol, and the phone will play 24 and 32-bit tracks. Yet, looking back at our benchmarking reports, output seems to be truncated to 16-bit audio. We couldn't find a way in the various Asus apps and settings to truly represent the full range of 24-bit sound. Quality is near the bottom of our list as well. These numbers are hovering around the LG G5 and the Huawei Mate 9. This is good playback, but the ZenFone is far from audiophile grade, and the amp on board is somewhat anemic. This wouldn't be a great fit to drive nicer headphones. And to wrap up audio, Asus does include a respectable pair of earbuds. Offset drivers help the fit, though we are a bit concerned by the cable shielding, which feels a bit flimsy. These buds are a bit lean on the bass side, but did a fantastic job representing mids and highs. The only issue with this, the phone already boosts mid-range audio. When listening, you end up with a double dose of mid-frequency sound, which, depending on what you listen to, might sound great or could sound terrible. Happily, this is a surprisingly solid camera. Again, Asus software organization could do with some sprucing, but the ZenFone delivers a well-stocked list of options, settings, and manual controls. Photos come out a touch on the juicy side for saturation, and the only frustration we ran into was somewhat twitchy exposure, when we focused in the same spot here and managed to land totally different brightness values. Video is similarly exposed. We get a nice, crisp, colorful UHD output. Optical image stabilization is on tap, though movement is a bit on the shaky side, most noticeable when trying to hold still at macro distances. When walking, it seems like the camera is overcorrecting for movement on some footfalls, leading to some of this twitch or jank. And the shooter comes well stocked for fun features: a depth of field blur setting allowing users to dial in blur after the shot is taken, a capable HDR mode which works well at reining in highlights, though it can blow out warmer colors thanks to that extra saturation applied, and a low light mode which reduces output resolution to better control noise, though it doesn't seem to work much better than the phone's normal auto processing. And a pretty complete manual mode will be a welcome addition for folks who like to dial in specific settings in capturing their photos. In all, we get software which makes good use of some solid hardware. Though like many aspects of this phone, we do wish menus were a bit better organized. Users face quite a bit of memorization on first use, remembering where every mode and option lives. Lastly, running our battery bench 30 minutes of HD video over Wi-Fi at 190 lux, the phone drained 6%, which is absolutely in the right ballpark for this battery capacity. And daily use numbers matched, where this phone easily made it to dinner time with a little room to spare under moderate use. The recharge game is also solid. 30 minutes on the supplied charger resulted in a 40% recharge. Well done there. So let's wrap this up. Where's that leave us with the ZenFone 3 Deluxe? We know we have Asus fans in our audience, and we can see why. This is a respectable offering, continuing the conversation of packing flagship specs into mid-range pricing. If 2016 is remembered for anything positive, it'll be the year we really upset smartphone pricing, and this phone represents that idea extremely well. Because of all this competition, however, the $400 to $500 price tier has become precious territory. The ZenFone is battling against some extremely tough options, and it's difficult to find any specific areas where it truly rises above. Put me on the spot and ask me what this phone's killer app is, and I'll struggle to give you a concise answer. Everything is just good to very good, and that's about where we should leave this review off, I suppose. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more reviews like these and help us out with some sharing on your favorite social networks. For Pocketnow, I'm Juan Bagnell, some gadget guy on Twitter and Instagram, and I will catch you all on the next review.